Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, very good afternoon from my side. Throughout yesterday evening and today, I'm being asked as a representative of Germany, how come that we participate here? Well, we are an observer state, and not only that, we have been engaged in the Arctic for quite a while. You have listened to the notes of Professor Lochte from the Alfred Wegener Institute this morning, and that clearly shows that there is a keen interest of Germany in the Arctic. And you can also tell by me using Mr. Lochte's slides here from one of the ships Germany is operating and also operating in the Arctic, the Polar Stern. So that gives you one of the explanations. Germany is very active in the field of research, not only with Alfred Wegener Institute and the Polar Stern, where we closely cooperate with France on the Svalbard, but we also operate with the Russian cooperate with the Russian Federation, for example, in Samoylov, which is situated in the Lena Delta, close to the Laptev Sea. And the Federal Institute for Geosciences and Natural Resources in Germany has also attained considerable expertise in polar geology. And of course, we are very interested in climate change and what causes climate change, and take a very strong interest in these issues. But here, this afternoon, we are speaking on energy. And I would like to give you our concept, the German concept on foreign energy policy. And afterwards, I will dwell a little bit on German businesses and how they contribute to develop oil and gas in the Arctic. And of course, I would also like to say a few words on the environmental protection, climate change, and possibly on shipping. So if we come to foreign energy policy, what is the notion behind it? What is very important, for one, is conflict prevention here, and on the other hand, it's energy security. If we speak of conflict prevention, I could see a situation of overlapping interests that could lead to, for example, geopolitical race on how to exploit natural resources, namely in the field of oil and gas, and possibly also in a region like the Arctic. So in our mind, exploration, production, and supply of energy should be led by international standards, and the international maritime law plays a very important role here, definitely. And what is always important for us is protection of the environment. The federal government remains committed to existing international agreements and treaties that are of relevance to the Arctic, and the federal government backs preventive action that aims to avoid conflicts through confidence-building measures, cooperation and coordination. On energy security, Germany's policy objective is to diversify its sources of energy, supply countries, and transport routes. And therefore, the federal government promotes cooperation with specific energy partners on a bilateral basis, but we also stand for regional and multilateral forums. And I would like to say that possibly a similar approach applies to the European Union. So in July 2012 and again in April 2013, the EU Foreign Affairs Council discussed the link between energy security and EU foreign policy. So the conclusion I would like to draw here for this forum is that energy is a key factor in relations between countries, it can have repercussions on bilateral and international relations. And this is also true for the Arctic. And as we have heard here from the other speakers, there is growing economic importance to the Arctic. So how does Germany view these issues? First of all, we import 95% of our oil and 85% of our gas in Germany. That means high dependence on imports, and this is why energy security is something of a strategic goal for Germany. Secondly, Germany's largest suppliers for gas and oil are Norway and Russia. These two countries alone deliver around 3/4 of our natural gas and about half of our oil imports. And third, we notice that in the last few years, Norway and Russia have focused on the development of their Arctic energy resources. And this is why we definitely welcome that in 2011, the maritime boundary agreement between the two countries was concluded. In Russia, the joint ventures between Rosneft and ExxonMobil, Statoil, and Eni are developing Arctic offshore energy resources, and that, in our mind, will result in greater economic activity in the Russian Arctic in the medium term. So how do German businesses react here? The German government has taken steps to ensure our energy security and to contribute to a responsible and sustainable development of the Arctic. This is why we have had an strategic energy partnership with Norway since June 2009, and with Russia, we have a strategic partnership dialogue, and that also includes energy issues. And these partnerships make it possible for us to rely on energy supply and to have a more secure energy supply. If we speak of German businesses, I would like to name a few which are active together with the Norwegians, which is Bayerngas, Wintershall, VNG, E.ON, and RWE. And other companies are the same companies like Wintershall. They are cooperating with Gazprom in Russia, for example, among other sites at Rushno-Ruskoye. And I'm saying this because I think it's very important to note that these are regions, either they are already Arctic regions or very close to the Arctic. What I would like to stress here, we see there is a strong drive towards the Arctic as far as development of oil and gas resources are concerned. We would like to see the highest possible environmental standards being used when it comes to developing these regions. What we also would like to see is, for example, a binding and unitary regime of liability for environmental damage. As far as shipping is concerned, we see that there is an increase in transport from the exploration, drilling, and production, and that is why there must also be the highest safety and environmental standards as far as shipping is concerned. And Germany supports regulations as well as environmental and safety standards of the International Maritime Organization. And I would like just to mention that in 2002, this organization drafted guidelines, the guidelines of which should result in a polar code. And here we think we are instrumental, and we want to move forward to have binding and far-reaching regulations, especially for the polar regions. So we are convinced, as a partner with vast experience in knowledge in oil and gas exploration and in areas of research, I mentioned it, technology, shipping, and environmental standards, we are able to play a role and to be a good partner to the Arctic Council countries and those other countries which are interested in the Arctic. I thank you very much.